Hello, and welcome to another command performance of We Only Look Thin. I am Katherine Weigel. I am one of your hosts. I have lost over 100 pounds. I'm an inspiration and a coach of many things. And with me todayeth is...
Donald Weigel, and I have been commanded by the Queen herself to be here. We've both been commanded. I have lost about 100 pounds and kept it off for about 5 years, and we're here to talk about it.
Yep, it has been easy and breezy. In the Northern Hemisphere, it's springtime. I think by the time this comes out, it will actually officially...
Yeah, it'll be officially spring. It's probably a hair before spring as we record it.
Yep, the daffodils are dilling.
Yeah.
And the tulips are tuliping.
The daffodils are daffing and dilling.
And dilling.
They're being daffy while they're dilling.
Exactly. And spring has sprung, and some people around the world right now are recognizing that it is the time of Easter.
Yes.
And Passover.
Yes.
And past Easter. If you're listening to this after Easter, then it's
and there
both.
Are probably people eating pasties.
Ooh, that sounds delicious.
In certain parts of the world. That's where my head goes is to the food.
Yeah, but last week we gave you, with the We Only Look Thin players, we gave you the Wolt 10 Commandments.
Yeah, the 10 WOLTmandments, as we call them, and what they was roughly 10. I don't know exactly how many there actually were.
So many, we're not counters.
Roughly 10 principles by which one can achieve lasting and sustainable weight loss.
Yep, and we received, I don't know how many. We received so much positive feedback.
Oh yeah,
there were lulls.
Yeah,
there were more lulls.
Yeah.
And please do
people who
more.
said that we changed their lives and
in one episode and between 10 and maybe 15 different commandments.
Yeah.
And they said, please tell us more things to do. They said that in my mind because that episode hasn't actually come out yet.
No, it hasn't actually come out yet. And also, it just turned out that we had so much fun writing these that we wrote way more than 10. Like
it's so fun.
I think I wrote close to 20. Of them.
And I wrote fewer. So we're going to, again, command for performance, give you more commandments, suggestions. Donald has more than I do.
And here's the fun part. We have not shared each other's lists. So I don't know what Katherine is going to say, and she doesn't know what I'm going to say. And the other fun part, the funner part, is that we've written them in pseudo Bible Times talk.
They already know that. They just listened to the last episode.
Well, maybe they didn't. Maybe they're jumping in in this. This is another 10 WOLTmandments. The first one was the 10 WOLTmandments. This is like there was the movie 48 Hours, and then there was another 48 Hours was the sequel. Or like there was Teen Wolf, and then it was Teen Wolf 2. But Teen Wolf 2 was like TOO because it was... It was a different guy. Teen Wolf TOO. Like, so he's also Teen Wolf. So these are also... the 10 WOLTmandments.
The 10. Well, is there another way to spell 10? If you know, let us know because we want to know. But our Wolt Place therapist told us that we needed to keep our podcast spicy. Yeah. And by doing so, it was to keep secrets for each other that we only reveal. And lo and behold.
And the other part of the spiciness was talking in sort of pseudo-biblical speak, which may also sound like Shakespeare or like a pirate.
Yeah. And Donald has more experience in all of those categories. So I'm the wingman, which means Donald will be going firsteth todaeth.
Yes.
With from Tudaica.
And lo.
And lo.
And
all right,
lo.
Why don't we get going?
Donald is speaking first. Okay, so
let's go.
My first one for this episode is... Thou shalt not give in to thine all or nothing attitude.
Ooh, okay.
Thou shalt keep in thine heart that anything worth doing is worth doing halfway or even just a little.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I think that we as humans will often say to ourselves, well, I should run a mile, but I don't have time to run a mile, so I'm just going to do nothing. Or I should go to the gym every day, but I can't go every day. I can't go today, so I'm just going to do nothing. Or I should meal prep from scratch, but I can't do that, so I'm just going to do nothing instead. But doing something is better than doing nothing at all. And I think that getting over that idea and getting over that idea of like, I have to, if I can't do everything, I'm going to do nothing instead, has been one of the foundations of actually achieving the goal and continuing to do it.
Do you think Moses just parted part of the Red Sea? It parted the Red Sea? So do unto others as you might do unto the sea, and just do it halfway, because halfway is better than no way.
Yeah, and look, obviously, when you have the time and you feel the spirit move you, so to speak, like doing the full bore, doing it how you think like is the right way of doing something, sure, do that. But when you can't do everything, or you can't do it the quote unquote right way, do it part way. Do it a little bit. Like if you can't do your 25 push-up routine, do one push-up. Like the habit is doing the one thing. Set yourself a minimum, or a what were you calling it recently? Not a minimum, a standard.
Setting a standard.
Set a standard for yourself that like, okay, I'm the kind of person who's going to do a 5-minute walk. And if that 5-minute walk is a half-hour walk, okay, even better. But at least set yourself the standard of the 5-minute walk, and you keep doing the habit over and over again.
Yeah, I recently, someone mentioned, I'm doing some physical therapy on my hipses.
Yeah.
When I hip, you hip, we hip. And
yeah, that's a really deep cut
and for a
joke.
really, I know, it was like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But I wasn't doing it because I'm like, I don't have time. And you know what? I said to myself, I don't have time. I make time. And
that's right.
But like the whole thing of like, well, I should be doing squats and lunges and, like strength training, whatever. It's like, you know what? I can start with stretching my knees and my hips in bed, or like while I'm making coffee. So that's what I've been doing. Part of the workout, parting the Red Seas, and yeah.
And I know I'm like sort of beating a dead horse at this point, but if you can't get 10,000 steps, that doesn't mean you should just get no steps.
Yeah.
Like do what you can. Okay, so my second one, and this one harkens back to a classic episode of this show.
Harken he.
Yeah. Thou shalt not seek out the one weird tricketh that is the key to weight loss success, for it is surely a false idol.
Oh, I like it.
Knoweth that the way to true success is through burning more calories than thou consumeth.
Is that like a burning bush or something like that?
Yeah. So, I think that people, that we, and I spent most of my life trying to find that one, like, what was that one weird trick? Like, what is the key? What is the secret?
Oh my gosh.
Like, what is that thing that's out there that I'm just missing that is going to allow the pounds to melt off with little to no effort? And it turns out that doesn't exist.
Yeah, I know. The other day, someone I know posted, and it was this mysterious, like, I've changed my life, without any explanation. And it was like, oh, I'll send you a DM with more information on the product I'm selling you. Yeah. And I was like, oh, and like, but that 1 second of like, well, obviously she lost weight really easily without any effort. And I still have those impulses. So I totally get it. But I had neither of those on my list. And so I give you
Excellent.
A virtual clap.
Excellent. And just to put a bow on that second one, no matter what diet you're doing, science has figured out that what people are actually doing, like if it's intermittent fasting or paleo or keto or whatever, what you're actually doing is burning more calories than you're consuming, and that is ultimately the goal, and that is the way that you lose and maintain weight.
And this is the way. Oh, wait, no, that's a Mandalorian
That's
thing.
a Mandalorian thing.
Okay, whatever.
Not exactly from the Bible, but...
It's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine. Okay,
exactly.
Can I do mine now?
Yes, you should do yours now.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to give this a shot. Remember thy weigh-in day and keep it holy. Do not skippeth for holiday, nor overindulgence, nor time of the month. Thou shalt bear witness to trends and forsake single data points. That is the, like, don't just, oh, no, I'm not going to weigh this summer because we're going away for a week and I'll just start again in September.
Yeah.
Data over time is really important. We actually did a great Zoom yesterday in Wolt with Wolt member Sarah. We'll call her Sarah.
Yeah.
But we'll keep the H out so it doesn't sound like her, but I'll just say Sarah with no H.
A different Sarah.
Yeah. But we talked about trends over time, and it's so fascinating to see the points of our lives in the points on the scale of like, oh, yep, that was Halloween, and oh, there's Thanksgiving, and there's Christmas. And capturing the data is important, not focusing on the single data point, but rather trends over time matters. So say we all.
Yeah, and a couple things I would like to add. You know, I have done this thing where I will say to myself, and I not just with weight loss, but if I don't step on the scale, then I don't have to face the reality. And so then I can still in my mind hope that maybe I didn't overindulge as much. Maybe I haven't put on as much weight as I think I have. And if I don't actually step on the scale and see the evidence of my behaviors.
Yeah, like I don't need to look at the credit card statement right now. That's fine. I'm sure the interest isn't that much.
Right.
So.
Yeah. If I don't check my bank account, then I don't have to realize how little money that I have. And then the other thing is, you know, to keep in mind, over the course of losing 100 pounds, like I also gained weight a bunch of times in there.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just a linear, you know, well, I started at a certain weight and then I just, you know, slowly kept losing. Like there were lots of fluctuations in there. It was just over time, I managed to average about a pound a week for 2 years until it came off.
Nice job.
All right. So my next one is... Thou shalt not endeavor to go on a diet for a finite length of time until a goal weight is reached, and then declare that thou art cured and return to thine old habits and behaviors.
That is very specific, and I completely agree, and I don't have that on my list.
Thou must remember that no finish line existeth. Thou shalt instead adopteth the lifestyle of a fit person and work on thine identity as a fit person. And that
clap. Nice. Yeah. You should bang on the podium, or what is it called when the churn?
The gavel?
No. Oh. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You're supposed to bang on something.
I'm going to bang on something. Exactly. So
pulpit.
Yeah. The pulpit. Yes, that's right. Pound the pulpit. So you're trying to make it a religious thing because it's the 10 WOLTmandments. I get it. So, you know, I think that I spent most of my life thinking that, well, I'll just go on a diet for a while. I'll restrict myself from everything I enjoy until I hit a goal weight, and then I'll be fixed and I'll be done and I can just go back to eating like a regular person. And anytime I would do that, the weight would come roaring back on. Anytime I would and also it's very difficult to stick to a very restricted diet where I was depriving myself of anything that I enjoyed to eat. And I could, you know, white knuckle it and, you know, stick it out for a bit, but ultimately I could never really truly, you know, keep to it for the long term.
Right. And I know, you know, we can do really hard things for a very short period of time. We can sprint. Well, I can't, but like other people.
People can
you can
sprint,
do really hard things for a short period of time. But if you have to exact a lot of effort and energy over a long term, it's not going to last. So easy does it, just like the 1970s bumper sticker said.
Absolutely.
All right. What's next?
The next one is... Thou shalt be conscious of drinking thine calories, and know that doing so will not leadeth thee to satiety. Also knoweth that partaking of calories in the form of the fermented grape or grain, sometimes calleth the alcohol, can leadeth to impairment of one's judgment, and leadeth to further caloric promiscuity.
Okay, I've got a similar take on this. So hold on just a second.
I'm looking forward to hearing it.
Okay, so here I go. Thou shalt not commit caloric promiscuity, but stay true to thine plan. If thou sippeth of the devil's nectar, also called hooch, lunatic soup, or Beelzebub's Robitussin, do so mindfully, and away from nourishment presented on platters, baskets, and of bucket.
Beelzebub's Robitussin.
I don't know. I looked in the Urban Dictionary and I wasn't super happy with the ones that I was finding. I don't even love lunatic soup because I don't want to besmirch anyone. But Beelzebub Robitussin is like, they're also a great band, a local band from Los Angeles. So,
yeah. They're playing the Troubadour this weekend.
It's just, for me, right now, it's not about the number of calories in a beverage. It's that loosey-goosey devil juice that, makes me like excited about the food around me. Even if I don't like it all that much, it leads to caloric promiscuity.
Yeah. And sort of the first half of my intention of this was too, that if it enriches your life, certainly don't restrict yourself from drinking, sugary drinks or whatever. But you have to be, or at least I have to be, very careful. And for me, most of those drinks that have a lot of calories in them, it's not worth it to me to drink them most of the time because they don't fill me up and I'm adding calories to my life, but I'm not actually getting full from them.
Yeah, we did an episode recently called I'm a Carby Girl, where we gave lots of tips and advice on how to actually work things into your life, because I agree, I'm not about restriction. I'm about showing restraint and making conscious decisions about the kinds of things I do want in my life, whether that's 70 calories of half and half each morning, which I'm willing to donate to my caffeination, or if that's a weekly cocktail, make it so.
Well, and I have to admit, I'm also kind of lucky because I prefer my tea and coffee and things unsweetened. So I do have a little bit of a advantage there.
If only all of us liked it.
I know some people have to have it with sugar in it.
Must be nice to be Donald.
It must be nice.
Nice job. So I kind of did one of mine, but you still have one of yours. So
okay. So I'll do another one then. Thou shalt prioritize thine sleep, and partaketh in getting necessary rest. Thou shalt not watcheth just one more episode, or scroll on thine mobile device for just 10 more minutes, but rather thou shalt turn off thine light, closeth thine eyes, and ventureth to dreamland.
Oh!
For when thou art not well rested, thou art mucheth more likely to maketh impulsive food decisions, and skippeth thine exercise. This cannot be stressed if enough.
Wow, you sounded really official there. I think.
Thank you.
That's a good one. I did not have sleep on mine, so
yeah, I don't know if adding "if" is actually authentically biblical, but it makes it sound more biblical.
If you don't snoozeth,
it makes it sound more Old Testament, right?
Snoozeth.
If you don't snoozeth, you lose
I can't
it.
pronounce it.
Yeah, no, you're doing a fine job.
Oh, thank you.
I think that this is one of the things that I like to talk about a lot because I think people don't talk about it enough. And one of the keys to long-term success is really being rested, because I know that if I'm not well rested, I'm more likely to hit that snooze alarm or to just turn the alarm clock off and tell myself I'm going to get that extra hour of sleep. And also, when I'm tired, I don't make good decisions, or the same decisions I make when I am well rested. And when I feel good and rested, it's much easier to stay on my plan than it is when I'm tired and I just want some sort of comfort to ease, whatever the tiredness is going on.
Well, and whether it's alcohol or sleep, it's not just the day that it affects, it's the domino effect it has. So you stay up late, so you sleep in late, so you don't prep your morning food, you grab a donut instead of making your own breakfast, you end up getting fast food for lunch, then you feel logy, then you get takeout the next day. And that happened all the time. So it's never just about the one day. It's the habits of the next day and the next that are then impacted.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
All right. So do you want to read your next one?
Sure. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's weight loss, nor gym gain. Thou may derive inspiration from podcast, neighbor, or Instagrammer, or even a tome. That's a fancy word for a book.
People still use those?
Thou shall be struck down if ye bellow must be nice. Sorry, but thou shalt be struck down if ye bellow must have been nice. There, I don't know. We can see how that goes, but yeah, don't do it if you are.
I like how like Borat made an appearance there at the end.
Oh yeah, no, he is forever. He is from the beginning of time.
Yeah.
But when we looketh over the fence at what other people are doing, if we are feeling threatened or overwhelmed or must be nice about someone else, it might be a good time to not follow them on Instagram. Follow someone who is just above you, like, oh, they've lost 10 pounds. What are they up to? Hey, let's go there. But if it's somebody, if you're just starting your own business and you're looking to Jeff Bezos as your low key inspo for making money, maybe that is too big of a jump. So don't worry about what other people are doing. Worry about yourself.
Yeah, and I think another part of this is I used to always look at thin people and think, well, I wish I had it as easy as they have it. And, you don't really know how much work somebody is putting into something or how hard it is or what they're going through. And, maybe that person does have it easy, but they've got other parts of their life that are not easy. And it's a difficult thing to do, to not look at other people and be jealous, but it really isn't helpful upon your, personal journey to just sort of say, well, I wish I could just be that person, and rather than working on yourself.
Amen.
Okay, so my next one is, thou shalt honor thy boundaries and maketh them known. Thou shalt not over-volunteer, nor accepteth every social invitation, nor taketh upon thyself the weighteth of thine world.
Amen. I like that one. I did not put that one. I thought about it, but I couldn't figure out how to say it. So I'm glad you said it. It is so true. I had no idea that boundaries were a problem for me, because without boundaries, I found myself emotionally eating. And I thought emotionally eating was just like what you do. It's when you grow up, you buy a house, you get a car, you have a kid and a half, and you also emotionally eat about all the things. But saying no, it puts you on track. If you reverse it, no is on.
Yeah, and
I don't know what that means.
I mean, Catherine basically just said it all. But I would stretch myself too thin, and then I would just think I was the biggest victim in the world. But realizing that I was doing it to myself largely was a big part of, and actually, big part of achieving weight loss goals and success. And actually, standing up for myself and asserting my boundaries and telling my friends, no, I don't want to do that. Which is not the same as avoiding going out because you don't want the calories. But, I am somebody, I consider myself an introvert, and, hanging out with other people really drains me. And, in order to fulfill myself after feeling drained, then I would indulge in a bunch of calories to make myself feel better. And that never worked out for me.
No, for sure. And it has been such a huge part of my process that I didn't even know that I needed. So working on those boundaries, we've got a few episodes on boundaries, Dog the Boundary Hunter.
Oh, yeah.
And some other Bow Wow Wow or something like boundaries. I can't remember the other one. Don't put it in the notes.
We have a bunch of boundaries episodes, which I'll link to at least a couple of them.
Excellent. Do you have another one?
I do. So, thou shalt not concern thyself with not losing weight quickly enough, and therefore abandon thine pursuit entirely. As it is true for both the tortoise in the pond and the hare in the field, and duringeth their fabled competition, it is slow and steady that winneth the race.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think that I see this a lot on I am a member of the Lose It group on Reddit. I see this a lot. People will post, I've been doing this for 2 months and I've only lost 5 pounds, and I'm like getting so discouraged, I'm ready to give up. And it's just, you've lost 5 pounds. Like what's the alternative, and what does giving up look like to you? Like, if you give up, you're going to gain the 5 back and more. Like, is that really productive? What's better, losing 5 pounds in 2 months, or even losing 1 pound in a month? Would you rather lose a pound in a month and be down 12 pounds by the end of the year and 60 pounds in 5 years? Or would you rather, just keep gaining weight or stay where you are? And it's really hard, because people think that, well, I need to get to my goal weight and then I'll be done. But as we said before, there is no finish line, and you really need to figure out a way to make your lifestyle and identify as a fit person and become a fit person to really make this work for the long term.
Well, and I think too, I've said it before, I tried to lose 100 pounds in 6 months for 20 years. Like over and over and over again, I kept trying to like hit my head against the same rock, thinking it would turn into macaroni. I don't know. No, he stuck a feather in his hat and called it macaroni. I don't know why. I'm not good at
he hit
stuff.
His head on rocks. He called that macaroni. He called
pushed it up a hill.
Macaroni. Yeah, he pushed the rock up the hill.
And it turned into macaroni.
Also macaroni. Turns out everything really just turns into macaroni.
It does.
And none of those stories were from the Bible. No. That's okay.
I should have paid more attention during nap reading time in kindergarten.
Yeah.
But yeah, I tried to do it quickly over and over and over again. And then when I finally said, what if I just kept moving forward in a way that didn't feel too stressful? And that's what happened. And that's where I am. So nice job.
Thank you very much. Okay. So it is your turn.
Okay. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thine motives. For what poison thou whispereth in thine ear becometh thine truth. Though we all know you are a lying liar who lies. Invoking loopholes makes you the victim instead of the champion of your choices. Oops, I can't believe there's dough left over from the cookie thing. Oh, I can't believe that I came to the, grocery store in March and there were Girl Scout cookies outside. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that I'm hungry and I went out for the day and I guess I need to get a whole Costco pizza to eat in the car.
Well, and I've just had such a hard day. I deserve this giant ice cream sundae. Like, oh my goodness, that person honked their horn at me. I'm so upset. I really need to stop for fast food to make myself feel better because I deserve about this. And I wouldn't even necessarily like consciously realize I was trying to make myself feel better. I would just, make up an excuse to eat the food because I wanted the food.
Well, and not to get a science, I'm not going to bring science into this, but here we go.
That's not what this podcast
When we
is
feel
about.
Negative emotions and we have humors that are negative, humors are still a thing, right? That's
sure.
What the
I don't
science
know.
community does.
Yeah.
When we feel bad, we want to feel good. And food gives us like dopamine and happy hormones.
Yeah,
and it is a quick fix, but it is a quick way to HE double hockey sticks also. So don't do it.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, so you don't have to rewind the episode. I'm going to say it one more time. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thine motives. When we lie to ourselves, that becomes our truth. Get honest. I want to eat this because I don't want to deal with my feelings. I want to eat this because it tastes good. I want to eat this because I know what I'm doing, and this happens every single Saturday, and I'm repeating habits because I don't feel like coming up with a better solution. Even just being truthful about it instead of lying about your motives matters. And that is what I'm saying.
Absolutely. And that is a great point. Okay, so my next one, and look, I realize that some of these overlap in theme, but my next one is, thou shalt not attempteth perfection and be discouraged when such perfection proveth to be out of reach. Thou shalt adopteth the long view and realizeth that consistency is more importanteth than perfection.
Nice. I think at this point, if you're listening, everybody, why don't you go press pause for a second, go get a drink, come back. I know there's a lot of ifs that we're doing here. We get it. We're getting through this, everybody.
Lots of thous and thines. And,
yeah. So I wish we knew more words, but we don't. So here we go. But that is a great point, Donald.
And I think that I'm repeating myself from earlier in the podcast. But again, that I think that people feel like if they can't do the perfect solution, that they should do nothing at all. And I think the other thing is, what I used to do over and over again is I would stick to a plan for 2 weeks or a month even, or however long. And then I would have one bad day in air quotes and think that I was broken and think that I was never going to get it. And then I would just stop entirely and then dig myself back deeper and deeper and deeper. And obviously one bad day does not make the whole journey, and it's not worth giving up entirely over one indulgent day.
Well, and perfection is procrastination. We want to wait for these perfect circumstances that have like never happened. Or maybe you had like one day in the entire world where everything went your way, but that's an exception. That's an outlier. It is not the standard. And learning how to do the work through conflict, through setbacks, is what it's really about. Because if you lose in a perfect bubble and then expose yourself and release unto the actual world, and you don't know how to cope with changes in the real world, then you're just going to regain. So don't do it.
Absolutely.
All right. What you got next?
Okay. My next one is, thou shalt not set a deadline upon which to loseth thine weight.
Nice.
Nor shalt thou take extreme measures to lose 10 pounds by thine class reunion or thine cousin's wedding. For surely this will lead to the reappearance of said weight and more misery in thine heart.
That is super true. We often confuse the goal with an actual plan. Like, it's not enough to just say, okay, I'm going to lose 20 pounds by July.
Right.
If I lose a pound a week, then I'll have it. Focus on the habits and the behaviors that person who has lost the weight would do.
Well, and I think, too, the other thing people do is they go and they do these, like, super crash diets where, they'll wire their jaw shut or they fast for a few days and they only drink juice or whatever. And ultimately, that might, cause you to lose a few pounds in the short term, but it's not a recipe for long-term success. And as soon as you start, eating like a normal human again, that weight comes roaring back.
It sure does. And we have done it enough times to tell you that it does not work.
Absolutely. All right. So why don't you read your last one, and then I will, assuming that yours does not overlap with mine, I will read my final two.
Okay.
And we will have our 47 WOLTmandments.
They're on very light paper. They're on papyrus, not on tablets.
Yeah, no, we did not.
Easy
we did not engrave them in stone tablets this time.
No, we didn't. So okay, here we go. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the Isle of Costco, I will take no free sample. I will fear no weight gain, for thy policies are with me. Thy tracker and thy pre-planned snack, they comfort me. So,
man, that is so good.
Thanks. I tried.
I love that.
Thanks. But it's that, like, just have some policies in place. I don't take free snacks. We are grown-ups. We are not little babies who don't have jobs. Like literal babies, like Muppet babies.
Wait, are Muppet babies literal babies?
But like, don't see free food as free. Nothing free is actually free. You pay a giant caloric price for those bites, licks, and tastes that you did not plan for. We did an episode called 365 Surprises. If you act like every calorie is a surprise, every treat in the office is a surprise, if Jeff from research and development. See, I usually go with accounting.
Yeah.
But R&D is also a very reliable job that you can have.
Jeff in research and development's always bringing in his home-baked treats, too, and you always feel guilty if you don't take them.
Yeah. So research and develop new habits, such as and including bringing a snack with you, eating before you go, deciding that you're going to get something small like a Happy Meal on the way home. We have many episodes that cover all of the different ways that you can be a champion of your choices, but I don't bother with decision fatigue because I've already made the decision that I do not snacketh upon the free snacks at Costco or Sam's Club or whatever big box store you are around.
Yeah, and that actually ties into one of mine.
Ooh,
but
nice.
I'm going to save it for last because I think it's funnier the way I wrote it.
Okay. Funnier than the way I wrote it, or
no,
funny?
No,
okay.
No, I think my second one is funnier than the first one, so I want to save it for the end.
Okay.
Okay, so the first one is, thou shalt pumpeth up thine volume, Be it by adding the low-calorie vegetable from the field or the low-calorie fruit from the tree, knoweth that doing so will increase thine satiety and aid thine self in achieving thine calorie goals.
Satiety is piety. There we go.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I don't actually know if the word satiety was around during biblical times, but anyway, here we are.
But either way, we know that we can pump up the volume.
Hey, we did that pretty well this time.
Yeah, it only took 5 years. That's good.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, so, we've done several episodes about pumping up the volume, and which is essentially adding low-calorie foods to your diet that you can eat a lot of and make yourself more full. Things that you enjoy. Like for me, I eat a lot of watermelon and pineapple and apple slices and berries. And then other things like
sauteed mushrooms
and onions and cauliflower. Like I can eat a lot of those things for very few calories, and it really helps me stay full and not be as hungry throughout the day.
Would you say that you get your bangeth for your bucket?
I 100% would say that I get my bangeth for my bucket.
Ridiculous. The good news, everybody, I think we're on the home stretch. In the home stretch, I think Donald is about to give his last one.
I am.
Here we go. I'm looking forward to it just as much as you, dear listener.
My last one. I'm almost sad that it's over.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, so my final WOLTmandment is, thou shalt not allow surprises to derail one's progress, and leadeth thou to give up on thine goals. Letteth not thine co-worker's birthday cake, nor thine old friend's surprise visit, nor a holy day on the calendar, aka a holiday, leadeth thee to throw up thine hands and declare that thine are broken and incapable of change. Thou shalt be mindful that one indulgent day or one indulgent meal is simply a moment in a lifetime of moments.
In a lifetime of moments. Wow, that is some Hallmark stuff there. It's almost it's almost like the 10 Commandments were like original Twitter. Couldn't you just have like a certain number of characters?
Yeah.
But now, because we write everything on papyrus, our commandments can be as longeth as we wanteth them to be. But that is a great one to end on. I like it.
Thank you very much. And as Catherine mentioned earlier, we've done episodes about not being surprised by everything and instead having policies in place. And so that when that coworker's birthday happens, that you don't just give in to the moment and you have that cake. If it's not planned to be part of your indulgent day that day, then you might politely take a piece of cake, push it around on your plate, and then chuck it when nobody's looking.
Yeah, chuck it.
Or, you have a surprise, whatever, like, you have a rule. I don't eat the food in the kitchen at work. I don't have planned treats, things like that. And you design your life and you plan and you have policies and you prepare for what is coming so that you're ready during all of these situations, and that like everything in your life's not a surprise that causes you to spiral into overeating.
Well, and two, in Wolt Place, we only look thin place. We do some habit trackers, and they're not meant to get a streak of, perfect 30 days, but they're meant to see patterns. And for me, I had a pattern of overeating on weekends over and over and over. And literally for the first 8 weeks of the 10-week tracker, maybe a little bit less, every weekend I was going over. And it was like, all right, I'll do better next weekend. And again, that's not a plan. But finally, last weekend, I came up with a new strategy, and wouldn't you know, it actually worked. So really paying attention to your choices and like seeing, oh, surprise, another 7 days are coming. Surprise, another Saturday's on the way. Like, it matters to stick with it. And I mean, how long have we been doing this? And it took me until literally last weekend to be like, oh, I just figured out a new way to do this.
Yeah.
So I love learning new things. I love seeing things in new ways and hearing things in different ways. And that is why we have presented these Wolt commandments, however many there are. If anyone out there is willing to write them all down, let us know.
Let us know. We would appreciate if somebody would count them and let us know. Thank you so much for listening. If you've enjoyed these WOLTmandments, if you have gotten something out of them, we have almost 275 episodes of this show that you can go listen to. There is plenty of whiz-bang advice in there, and you can find them wherever you found this podcast, and also anytime on our website at weonlylookthin.com.
Yep, and if you are at weonlylookthin.com, you can click on that link for Join Our Support Group to find out more about Wolt Place. We Only Look Thin Place is our Facebook-based accountability group for women. We are not a weight loss plan, but we are a place for Zoom meetings, habit trackers, support, accountability, and really showing up just as you are while you're working on yourself. We have 2 subscription options, a monthly option with a 3-day complimentary trial and a 3-month subscription with a 7-day complimentary trial to see if Wolt Place is right for you.
So check it out. Also, if you'd like to interact with us in other ways, you can find us on social media at We Only Look Thin on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Or you can send us an email to weonlylookthin@gmail.com. We enjoy getting episode suggestions. We enjoy questions. We also like compliments. So if you'd just like to say hello, send us an email. We've taken many listener emails and turned them into episodes of this show. So go ahead and say hi.
Yep. And if you have an extra minute and can head over to Apple Podcasts, please leave us a rating and a review. Not only does it let us know that what we're doing is making a difference, but it also helps others find our podcast when they are looking for inspirational, comical weight loss ?
With sort of pseudo-biblical references and implications.
Lots of meta tagging there. But it really lets us know that we're doing something that matters. So head on over there.
Yeah, that really helps us out. And another thing that really helps us out is if you just tell somebody about the show. If you are in a conversation and it comes up and you know somebody who might get something out of it, if you could recommend our podcast, we would be grateful. Or if you're in an online group, a Discord server, a Reddit group, I mentioned Lose It earlier, or a Facebook group, something like that, and it comes up, bring up the show, it really helps us out. It's one of the best ways to help the show grow, and we would be grateful.
Yep. So if you're just about to head out to your local CVS pharmacy and look for Beelzebub's Robitussin, just remember that Donald and I are an inspiration.
The information that you hear on this podcast is for informational purposes only. The hosts are not medical professionals. You should always consult with your doctor, nurse, or other certified health professional before beginning any diet or fitness program.